Do you remember around 10 years ago when AAA horror games just pretty much stopped coming out? Like during the PS1, PS2, and PS3 generations, we used to have tons of AAA horror games coming out all the damn time, like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Alone in the Dark, Alan Wake, Dead Space, Dino Crisis, Fear, Eternal Darkness, and I can go on and on. Sadly, during the late point of the PS3 era, these games stopped selling the overambitious amount the publishers wanted them to, so they started implementing Gears of War like co-op modes and turned the franchises into full-on action games. The big examples of this is Resident Evil 5, which sold incredibly well for Capcom and made them continue this action trend into Resident Evil 6, which were reviewed very poorly by both critics and almost killed the entire franchise. Then there was also Dead Space 3, which came out with a lukewarm reception because it was now an action game that had co-op, Gears of War, rolling, etc., which led to no more Dead Space games because it didn't meet EA's expectations. Now, more and more AAA publishers saw horror games as a huge risk and not worth the investment, so they slowly but surely stopped coming altogether. Sure, we did have a few AAA horror games still, like Alien Isolation, which sold very poorly but was a great game. The Evil Within, which had a mixed reception overall, but I think it's pretty safe to say that they probably hurt the horror game look for big publishers more than they actually helped. The horror genre, in the eyes of the mega publishers, had been taken over completely by AA games like Outlast, etc. And there was no point to pursue them anymore as the risk was just too great. But then, something happened.
Dad was such a drag. Every day he'd eat the same kind of food, dress the same, sit in front of the same kind of games. Yeah, he was just that kind of guy. But then one day he goes and kills us all. He couldn't even be original about the way he did it. I'm not complaining. I was dying of boredom anyway. But guess what? I will be coming back, and I'm bringing my new toys with me.
A little demo came out called PT by the mad lad himself, Hideo Kojima. And this sadly now cancelled Silent Hill playable teaser got so much attention, praise, and hype online that most likely every publisher took some notice, but even that was sadly not enough either. Until E3, when Capcom officially revealed Resident Evil 7, which had been inspired by PT and Outlast in a ton of ways and had gone completely back to the roots of the series, into horror, and even followed PT's way with the release of a demo that people could play right after the E3 show. And at this point in time, people were skeptical, to say the least, since Capcom hadn't done a horror Resident Evil in over a decade at this point. Along the fact that it had gone full first person all of a sudden, which was pretty jarring for a lot of the traditional third person fans of the series. And the full game ended up coming out in January 2017, only 6 to 7 months after the official reveal at the prior E3, and it was by a miracle received very well on Metacritic and Steam and all the other places, and was a big hit for Capcom, selling 2.5 million units in the first week of release. And it's now sitting at over 10 million copies sold as of 2022, and this was only the beginning of Capcom's rekindled success that still goes on to this day. Resident Evil 7 is the game, in my opinion, that truly rekindled the AAA horror games. If this game was a flop, we most likely would not have gotten Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, Resident Evil Village, and the upcoming Resident Evil 4 Remake. And it hadn't started, and in my opinion, actually, it hadn't started the entire trend of remakes in general that made the publishers like EA take notice and made them want to remake Dead Space, which will hopefully revive the franchise. And the exact same thing could probably be said for the Back from the Dead Konami remaking Silent Hill 2. Now we're even getting other AAA sequels like Alan Wake 2, despite the first game selling somewhat poorly, releasing so close to Red Dead Redemption back in the day. And we're also getting Callisto Protocol by the ex-original Dead Space devs, which looks amazing. Now, is it possible that these two would have come out anyways? Yeah, sure. But without Resident Evil 7, I am pretty sure that it would have been much harder to greenlit these two games and to get the funding they needed. I love games of all kinds, but horror games are special, and I think everyone agrees with that. And I'm so happy they're making a comeback. So I guess all I really have left to say is thank you, Capcom, for playing a massive part in saving the horror genre for me and everyone else. Now thank you for watching my video. It's been my first one, and yeah, thank you for watching. Have a good day.